Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, September the 14th. Hey, we're going to join our usual crowd, Lee, Josh, Tom, and Gentry, find out what's happening on their bodies of water, try to help you put a few more fish in the boat. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, September 14th. Hey, we're joined by Josh Herron, going to talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, kind of tell us what happened. I know it was a big weight that won the Coos River Team Trail this last weekend, but it's kind of an anomaly. What's going on at Lay Lake?
Man, everybody I talked to, it was a grind fest. Wasn't a whole lot of fish being caught, and fish that were being caught were fairly little, or the fish were kind of congregated on bait. Is what seemed to be the main deal. But yeah, it took 19 pounds to win with one right at 8 pounds, which is always a welcome addition to the clubhouse this time of year.
Yes, it is.
But no,
Yep.
man. I know there was a lot of fish that got caught. There were still a lot of fish that got caught deep. Spoons, Demiki rigs, stuff like that. So it seems like the farther this rain and this current kind of hold out, these fish kind of keep staying with the bait out towards the main lake. Seem to be the big deal at Lay, and it's holding true pretty much at Logan the same way. You still got a lot of bait clouds in that 20-25 foot range right now. And that seems to be where a vast majority of the fish are. So you either got to chase that little bait around and get good at looking at them, or you can kind of get up on the bank and kind of hunt some of those gizzard chasers.
I know your tendency would be to go fish for those big bites, but what do you think? Can you get 5 bites a day doing that? Are you looking for one or two when you're going after those gizzard chasers?
I mean, man, on a good day, it could be a 10 or 12 bite deal, and on a bad day, it could be two. So it really depends on the day. The biggest deal with the big baits is knowing when to put them down. And that's as important as knowing when to pick them up. If you start getting fish that'll kind
Yeah.
of come up there and start showing themselves and flashing and just not committing to the bait, after a few of those, it's either time to make a color change or a cadence change. But definitely, they're telling you that that's uh, that's a no go at the moment. So it's a new technique for a lot
Yep.
of people, but it is a lot of fun.
Yep. Something quite right on that one when they're doing that. Um, so overall, finesse fish out deep, chase some bait balls, maybe fish a little shallow, looking for a big bite. That's what the deal is, right?
That's pretty much, man. Your numbers are out, and your bigger fish tend to be in right now.
Josh, as always, brother, we appreciate the insight. We'll talk to you soon. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, September 14th. Hey, Tom Ott's traveling for business right now, but he's been keeping in touch with Guntersville. Tom, what's happening on your big lake in the sky?
Man, I'm telling you what, Dano, it just seems to be getting a little bit better as we move on. These cold snaps that we're getting, then we got this warm up. It's just, it just has the fish moving every which way. So, I mean, we've got fish moving real shallow. We've got some fish that are out in that 8, 10, 12 foot of water, even on some hard stuff, a little bit of grass out there. But those fish are just, really following the bait right now, just like what we talked about last week. Our numbers were a little bit down this past week, but the size is starting to get better. Got some good tournaments coming up. I'm still seeing those 17, 18-pound bags that are coming in, and I think that's what it's going to take to win. You're going to have 18, 19 pounds. But this is a great time to get out there and just catch you a ton of fish. I'm telling you, if you got some kids or you got your girlfriend, like Jennifer, you want to get out there and catch just a lot of fish, this is the time to do it. Spinner baits, chatter baits, swim bait has really been my go-to bait right now. It just seems to be a little bit easier to get those fish to commit. It's just throwing a little 4-inch swim bait with an underspin, and it really seems to be turning these fish on, especially when you see them busting up. The striper going nutso. it's just it's a great time. I mean, I always say that it's a great time on Guntersville, but it's just getting better and better. The frog bite, we're really getting that cheesy grass up there, and that just seems to be getting better and better. We're seeing those blowholes. You hear the snap, crackle, pop. It's just that makes me excited right there just talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you start hearing all those bluegill pop in the grass, that's a good thing. Talking about brim and crappie, are you seeing a bite happening out there?
As far as brim go, I mean, I'm just seeing those little fingerling type brim, but the crappie bite is really picking up. I've got buddies that have been hitting these bridges. They're going at night, but they're still catching a lot, and they're catching some nice big crappie. Everything that they're hitting right now, most of these guys are throwing jigs, but it just is gonna, I think you could pick up a bucket of minnows and go out there and wear them out just as easily. Now, don't forget that those creek channels and those stumps on the edge of those creek channels and maybe that 8-10 foot of water, you're going to see a lot of crappie start bunching up on that stuff right now.
Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate all the good info. We'll talk to you again next week, man.
All right, guys, I'll be back there on the G this weekend, and we'll talk to you then. Tight lines.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September 14th. Hey, we caught up with Gentry Gordy, who's going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Gentry, your choice. Where do you want to start this week?
We'll go back to Martin Dano. I've just been getting ready for a little tournament up there this weekend. So we'll go with Martin. It's hit or miss. The last week when we did this, I caught so many fish, my thumbs were raw. And then we got a breeze that come in, I don't know, 2 or 3 days later. And, I'm not going to say they wasn't schooling. You just couldn't see them. So it was hard to target them fish on a big spook. I had to, more or less, a couple of fish on like a windblown bank with the shad this time of year, but there just wasn't much size to them. To catch a bigger fish, there's just no pattern. It's just, putting something in front of him that he'll eat, whether it's like a bitsy bug or a ball jig. It just no rhyme or reason to them. They're just in that funk.
Is it one thing where you're just going to have to kind of weed through fish? Are they grouping up not by size right now, or are they just kind of all together?
No, they're definitely all together. And, some places you'll find, like if you do find them schooling, they're just better quality fish. And in some places they're 12 inches. And, the problem is the 12-inch fish, of course, way more aggressive. They're a lot easier to catch. But, every fish I have caught up there, though, whether it be a jig under a dock or a spook, there's always fish with it. It's never just one. There's always fish trying to get the bait out of their mouth.
All right, let's turn our attention to Jordan Lake. What's happening there?
Jordan, of course, you got the river. We can talk about that all the time. But two, with the bait doing like they are, with it cooling off, the days getting shorter, you can really catch some fish too in the canals, that go over like the new lake and stuff, especially if you can get up there when they're pulling water. Either whether it's going in the canal or on the back side of the canal, there's always fish there. If that's your style, your swim baits and spooks and stuff like that. But you can, Jordan, that's what I love about Jordan is you can go fish docks, fish grass, seawalls with a buzz bait this time of year. It's hard to beat. They'll hit everything, but it's hard to pattern them, really.
I hear you. Well, Gentry, as always, brother, man, we appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, guys, y'all too.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September 14th. Hey, we caught up with Lee Pitts, the crappie king of Weiss Lake, but we're going to throw him a curveball and have him start at Neely Henry again today. What's going on at Neely Henry, Lee?
Neely's been looking pretty good this week. And we'll start talking about the crappie. Crappie fishing has been real good at Neely. It's some of the fish are really, really getting around some of the wood cover right now and even getting on these docks. So if you like to dock shoot, you can get out there, and it's got an abundance of docks that you can go just about anywhere you want to right now and catch some fish. You might not catch some of a lot of the big ones right now, but they're getting on these docks. So the dock shooting's doing real well. And then out there just vertical dropping live bait and dropping those Bobby Garland baits down there to them too. And that deeper water is still producing some fish right now.
For the crappie, is it a vertical thing or can you stroll for them?
No, it's more vertical. It's they're starting to hold tight
Right.
to that cover, the brush piles, and on the timber that's out there. And it's one of those things they want to look at it a little bit. You got to drop it right down to them and just let them kind of get mad at it, and then they'll grab a hold of it. But we're not pulling for them just right now.
What about the bass bite on Neely Henry?
It's been good. The bass bite. It's once again, it's getting that time of year where you can catch in multiple ways. It's not just up in the dirt, and still on some of that, up tight up against the bank, but more looking for some of your harder spots out there. And fish are starting to relate to topwater pretty good right now too. Smaller buzz baits, spinner baits, and even some little pop-Rs and a spook a little bit down that way.
All right, talk about Weiss Lake. Got about a minute left. Tell me what's going on.
Weiss it's hit or miss, and one thing we think it's turning around. You'll have a good day, you'll catch some fish. One of the things, we hadn't been pulling a whole lot of water there at Weiss, so I think it's got some of these fish just suspended and hanging out there, not wanting to do a lot. Crappie are starting to turn on a little bit. We're starting to see some better stringers coming out of that deep water. The dock bite is a little behind Neely right now, but it's starting to pick up a little bit. But with our bass, the topwater bite's been good. Still got a good jig bite going, and that little square bill and some of that stuff you can go bounce off those dock poles has been very productive here. Bigger fish are kind of hard to find, but still catching a lot of fish, so it's coming.
Well, Lee, it sounds like they could go out there and have a little bit of fun if they wanted to. Thanks, man. We appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, man. Have a good week.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September 14th. Thanks for tuning in every week. We appreciate it right here on our social media channels. Also, if you're looking for that special boat to get you on the water, come see Katie and the team. If you're looking for the parts to keep it going, go see Pat and the guys in parts. Of course, Misty and the service team will keep the boat running for you. And then if you're looking for that special lure that'll help put a few fish in the boat, go see Colin and Jamie up in the loft. And once again, thank you for being the best part of Bucks Island. We'll talk to you again next week.